So in this video, we're going to discuss how to frame windows in our model house. We've got our doors in, and I run studs all the way around the exterior walls, place the doors where they need to be. Now, the location of the doors aren't specified on the plans, so I put them, this one for example, about in the middle of the porch, and it worked well with the layout. This one, I set it off of this wall far enough to get some trim. And I made it so that the trimmer was right where the stud was supposed to be, so that my plywood works on layout. So that's where I decided where to put the doors. So this one, we're going to actually frame windows. And it's very similar to how we did the doors. So I'm going to do this window here in front. The front window is window number 1 on the plan. And the window schedule says it's 5 feet wide and 4 feet high. So let's go back to SketchUp and make a window opening that's 5 feet wide and 4 feet high and has the same header height as the door opening so that it looks consistent across the house. Much like when framing the door opening, I'm going to start with a stud. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste that stud. I'm just going to come out here in front and set the stud down. And then I'm going to run a guideline across the front, just like I did with the door opening. Put my guideline right in the front here. And the purpose of doing that is to make sure I line all my studs up so that it works correctly. Now this is going to be the trimmer, just like we did on the last one. I'm going to put another guideline in, and that guideline is going to go from the inside of the trimmer to the inside of the other trimmer, and it's going to be 5 feet because that's the distance, the width of the window, the rough opening. So I right click and I paste another stud, and I put that stud right there on the inside, right at that intersection. Now these two studs are lined up, and they're lined up just perfectly. They'll fit in the wall. Those are going to be the trimmers, so I need to put my king studs on the outside of the trimmers, just like I did with the door. So I right click and paste, and then I move the king stud to be right next to the trimmer. Right click, paste, put the king stud down, and then move it in to be right next to the trimmer. Okay, that looks really good. Now I'm going to get my header that's over here. I'm going to right click, copy, right click, and paste. And I'm going to bring that header out. And I'm going to grab the top of the header here, and I'm going to snap it to the top of the studs right there. And now I can double click on my trimmers and use my push-pull tool, and I can push that down, and then I can select the other one, double click on it, use my push-pull tool, and push that trimmer down. Okay, so that's a great start with our window opening. I do want to match the door in that I'm going to have a 2x6 underneath the window. So I'm just going to take that piece. Actually, that's in a component, so I won't take that one. I'll just take this one again, right click, copy, right click, paste, just like I did with the window. And I'll bring that, oh, I copied the wrong piece. Got a piece of plywood. So I'll undo that, and let's try again. I'm not going to want a piece of plywood. I'm going to want a piece of 2x6 that I can put right up here. I'll select the top corner because I can snap that top corner to that intersection. And now I have the correct height that my trimmers need to be. So I will push them down to the bottom of the header. And I'll push this one down to the bottom of the header. And now I need to just shorten that horizontal piece and move it back where it's supposed to go. And I think we've got it sitting right where it's supposed to go. Okay, So now we have the top done. The header's in place, the 2x6 below the header's in place, the trimmers are in, the king posts are in. Now I need to do another guideline from the bottom of the header, and I'm going to go along the blue axis just to go down, and I'm going to go down 48 inches, and that'll be the top of the rough sill on the window. So I select the 2x6 under the header, and I copy that, right click and paste, and I'm going to set that right in place. That's going to be the top edge of the rough sill. And then I'm going to come up here, double click on that, push pull, push that end in so it sits right there. Okay. And there's my window component. When I set it in place, I'll have studs running through the window, which I will shorten, and they will become the cripple studs down here below. So let me show you how I would do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select, draw a box around my window, and right click on it and make it a component or a group. I'm going to make it a group so that I can move it all in one, and so I can copy it, because there are other windows in the house that are this same size, and I'll want to use that. Next thing I want to do is determine where this window goes. So if we look on the plan, we can go up to the floor plan and find that this window is centered on this wall. Now this wall says it's 16'9", but it's actually 16'8", because this dimension is from outside of plywood to outside of plywood. So it's going to be 16'8". Half of 16'8" is going to be 8'4". And so I'm going to come 18'4" from this corner and then back off 30 inches. And I'll have this edge of my window, and I can set my component right there, and it'll be centered in the window. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw a guideline from this edge. I'm going to come over the red axis, and I'm going to go 8'4" inches. Now that puts me in the center. So I want to know where the edge is. And because I know the window is 5 feet wide, that's 60 inches. 30 inches is half of that. So I can go over. I'm just going to choose to go to this side. You can go to either side. I'm going to go 30 inches. That's the inside of my trimmer. So now I can come back and I can select move, and I can go to the inside of my trimmer and select that group, bring it up here, and set it at that intersection. Okay, now that window is centered in that wall. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 studs over there. 1, 2, 3, 4 studs over here. The spacing isn't exact because it starts at this side, moves over, but it's centered on the wall. Now we can always verify it, because it looks like to me that maybe it isn't centered. So I'm just going to verify it. Anytime I see something that doesn't look right, double check it. So I'm going to go from there to here, pull the dimension out, and I see that it's 5'10". Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go from here to the inside, pull the dimension out, and it's 5'10". So it is centered, regardless of how it looks. Sometimes it's an optical illusion. It doesn't look quite right. But in this case, it's directly centered. Now what I need to do is shorten my studs here, double click on those, hit my push-pull button, and push them down to the lower side of the rough sill, and I then have my cripple studs at the correct height. Double click on them, push pull, put them down to the underside of the rough sill. Okay, just like that. Now I have my window located in my wall at the correct height, at the correct location as well. And if I can click on that component, right click and copy, right click and paste, and I can bring that component over there to the other side of the house and be ready to put it in that other wall when I determine exactly where the location is going to be.